It's better to be a slave than it is to be dead is going in your child's curriculum because they do not want black kids in school. It's that simple. They never have. They do not want black kids in public school. There's been a war on public school for black kids forever, right? But like, I don't have to tell black people that. That's new to white people. They want us trapped in our houses, and they're going to price us out of water. They're going to start it with the black and brown communities first, then they're going to move on to us, right? But again, if you take your eye off white people for even half a second, we move the ball so much and we'll change all the rules. We'll rewrite all the history so that when you look back, it's a completely fucking different game. And today, I'm here to say that when are white people going to start getting hurt? I'm serious, and I'm not even kidding. When do we get hurt just for being white and being pieces of shit? When do the people in Washington actually get chains thrown around their fucking necks? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I do want to hurt them, and they do need to be hurt because there are lessons that need to be learned because things like this are going to keep happening. I'm a spiritual man, but I want to drag these motherfuckers by the goddamn neck on a chain. I know. I don't know what they're bringing out of me. I just hate racist white people so much, and I can't believe... You guys, we made black people fight to the death in rings in the 40s. We called them battle royales. That's why I can't watch boxing. Where do you think all of this comes from? We used to push black people off of ships, right? Do you remember when we used to push the kids and the women off of ships? Because insurance would pay us more money? Do you remember that? Like, what are we doing? What are white people doing? When are we going to just start getting hit in the face for not knowing our history? There needs to come a point in time where if we don't know our history, just fucking, you got to learn it. If you don't know it, you get a black eye, you go home and you fucking learn it. Oh my God. But either way, when are we going to start enslaving all the white people in America? I'm being serious. All right. Hit a comment below.
Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Jonathan, right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers, and of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Now, the guy in the clip, you know, seemingly he's an Edomite. A lot of the videos I see, he's calling out other Edomites, but the scriptures do say that the Lord is going to cause their tongue to fall upon themselves. Also, there's many Edomites all over the world, especially in Babylon the Great, realizing that the small hats, the tiny tops, are cutting them out of the deal. They're not included in this, the benefits of this new world order that they're trying to establish. Which brings the past, the prophecy of, you know, the Egyptians being divided against themselves. We're in the new Egypt. If a nation be divided against itself, how can it stand? But I primarily want to focus on a part of the clip where he talks about when are so-called white people gonna be hurt. Well, that's coming. A lot of people, and even said, you know, I hate these white people that, you know, are doing these things. A lot of people will hear that and think that it's contrary to the Lord's way because they don't know the scriptures. They don't know the Lord. Okay? Hate is not something that is frowned upon in the scriptures. The scriptures say, hate the evil, love the good. There are people on the earth who carry out the bidding of Satan, pursuing the 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9. 2 and 7 through 9. If you're going to read through there. Really, I would start at 3 all the way through 9, through 12, really. The whole chapter is heavy. Okay? Captivity is the destiny of the Edomites. They're going to be bound with chains, as the scripture says. And we're going to get a bunch of those scriptures so you know I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. And look these things up for yourself too, man. Dive into it for yourself. Don't just believe what I'm saying. The scriptures say, study to show thyself approved. But I'm going to show you a bunch of precepts today that go into the destiny of the so-called white man. And I use the so-called white man as a relative term because there are Israelites that look like so-called white people. Okay? But the prophets are always going to use relative terms to the people of their day so those people of their day can know what they're talking about. Because most of you, if I said, you know, the Amalekites, you know, somebody knew the Amalekites, the Edomites, or the Moabites, the Ammonites, or these Hamites, you wouldn't necessarily know who I was talking about unless you have been here already and learning. So a lot of times when we're putting up lessons and we're on the highways and hedges, byways, we're going to use relative terms that most people understand. Okay, because they're not initiated. They don't understand the fullness of the Bible. They don't know the breakdowns. But the Johnny-come-latelys and the passerbys, they'll take those relative terms and they think that's the fullness of the message, because they're not listening to understand. They're listening to respond. They're already cemented in the indoctrination that the so-called white man gave them. So there is no room for any new information, especially new information regarding spiritual things. And even when you start to talk about the white man for our own people, they don't want to hear that. It sits, makes them feel uneasy on the inside. Part of it is because the so-called black man, especially here in America, they tie their value to their proximity to whiteness. They tie their value to, how the white man perceives them. That's why a degree is so important for the so-called black woman. It's validation from who she sees as the highest people on the earth, that she is somebody, that she has some importance, that she's worthy. Same with the Negro man, because they were raised by those women. I myself, I have degrees. Many brothers in the camp have degrees. You'll never know it because we know that shit means nothing. Your value stems from your usefulness to the Lord. That's what you really understand when you get into the scriptures. We don't need a validation or a pat on the back from the beast man, the base man of the earth. We seek to be pleasing in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai's sight. As it says in Sirach, we make our prayer before his face and we try to offend less. Okay, I think it's Sirach 24. It might be Sirach 17 or 24. All right, but let's get into some of these precepts here. So yes, when are white people going to get hurt, right? So you go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. It's going to give us a little bit of prophecy of what's going to happen after the War of Armageddon, which is World War III, which all the nations are militarizing again. Something big is about to go down. A couple years ago, Japan, who hasn't built up their military since World War II, started building up their military again. Why so? Because a major conflict is about to happen. It's inevitable. And in most major media outlets, they're not going to just say that outright to the people. They don't want people to be in a panic, especially here in Babylon. They don't want people to start paying attention to who the problem is and why this thing is unfolding in the first place, which is the tribe of Amalek, the small hats. The scriptures say the least of the flock shall draw them out. Okay? Talking about the smallest tribe within the Edomites, the Amalekites, the least of the flock. All right? Joel 3 goes into how, lots were cast for our people, as you can see here, verse 2 and 3. I'm going to start at a good spot. Let's start at verse 5, all right? Joel 3 and 5, it says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, we know that the children of Israel are the Lord's jewelry, all right? Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, all 12 tribes, all right? So-called black, Latino, and Native American, and of course the speckled bird Israelites scattered into every nation under heaven. Have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border? And now the Edomites aren't the original Grecians, but they took on that name. All right? That you might remove them far from their border. All right. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. This is what's going to befall them. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. So after the Lord returns, after World War III, and everything is a reset, there's going to be an international slave trade of many of the nations, primarily the nation of Edom. Okay? Then it goes on here in verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, turning your agricultural tools into military tools. That's what happens when a nation gears up for war. It switches its economy from being agriculturally based to being military based. America's never, their economy, our economy is not our, because shit, we're not advocates for this place. All right, but America's economy has always been geared towards its military, especially since World War II. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, beat your plowshares and the swords, and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right, assemble yourselves, come all the heathen, and gather yourselves round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. Okay? The valley of judgment, where the Lord's going to sit and judge the nations. Now we go to Isaiah the 14th chapter, Isaiah 14:1. All right, it reads, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, because that's the same people he has his covenants with. Notice I said that with an S, old and new. And will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. So when the Lord sets us in our own land, there are particular things that are going to be happening on the earth. Okay? The nations aren't going to learn war anymore, because it's going to be after World War III, after the Lord has returned. Okay? And there's going to be one world power, and that's going to be the nation of Israel. Okay? So the Lord's going to set us in our own land, and the law is going to go forth from the Lord's people. So the law, statutes, and commandments are going to govern the earth. So when the true descendants of Israel go back to the Holy Land, that's going to be the reality. If you need more clarity on things I just mentioned, it says it expressly in Micah 4 and in Isaiah 2. All right? Isaiah 14:1, again from the top. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. You're going to have Israelites that were scattered into all these different places. Okay? They're going to be brought back from all the lands where the Lord have scattered them. But there's another group of people that have a destiny they have to play out in the kingdom of heaven. Check it out. Isaiah 14:2. And the people shall take them and bring them to the place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord. Possess a people? In the land of the Lord. For servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives. What's a captive? A slave. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, who took us into captivity, who took us in our last captivity. All right? The Edomites. But all the nations that ever took us into captivity, they too are going to be subjugated. All of the nations are going to be subjugated. But there's somebody who's going to get the bitter end of the stick. All right? And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. This is in the kingdom of heaven. This is when the true bloodline descendants of Israel go back to the kingdom of heaven. Because the Lord has come back at this point. Because the Lord himself, all right, the first spirit ever created, our bridgeway to the Father, is going to take us back to the Holy Land. So, them being put in chains, let's get it. All right. Verse 5, Psalms 149:5. Let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people for their transgressions against the Lord's people. To bind, you talked about those chains around their neck, right? To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. Now we go to Revelation, the 18th chapter. Revelation 18:5, for her sins, talking about the daughter of Babylon. When you go to Isaiah, is it 48? Let me check really quick. Slack it. We're going to go back to Revelation 18. Just give me 1 second to double check what I'm saying here. Is it 48? No. 47. Yeah. So in Isaiah 47, it talks about the daughter of Babylon. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit in the ground, there's no throne. Who's this daughter of Babylon? It's not talking about ancient Babylon. Because the daughter of Babylon, whenever you talk about it in the scriptures, is going to be burned by fire. But then you go to Psalms 137, and it tells you who's going to be ruling over the daughter of Babylon. Let's get that really quick. 137:7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. They always celebrated our fall. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon. The nation of Edom is the daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. And this is a saying that, is harsh to people. But when you know the history of what the Edomites did to our people, it's of no consequence. It says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. That's a future prophecy of what's going to happen. And the Lord's going to have the spirit on us to execute these kind of judgments. Okay? And he's going to put that spirit on us when we're changed and we have our new body and he's returned and, a new righteous government has been set up. It's going to be the judgment written. And also, when you understand how life and death works, things like this that don't bug you out. Simply put. Okay, now we can go back to Revelation, the 18th chapter, because for all that they've done, for all the sins they've committed, the Lord says they're going to receive double of what they dished out. And that's unrighteousness. So we're not going to rape a man's wife in front of him and stuff like that. Molest the children. That's not going to happen. We're going to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments in righteousness. Okay? But the length of time that they're under captivity and the harshness of it, because we're going to be immortal beings having them in captivity. Our mental capacity, our creativity is going to be far beyond immortal. Anything they could have came up with. So it's going to be double. This is Revelation 18 in verse 5. For her sins, the daughter of Babylon, have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Iniquities is sin upon sin. Verse 6, it says, reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. This is on the commandment of the Lord. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. Yes, they lived deliciously off the backs of the nation of Israel. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow, which is not true. She's going to be gravely mistaken, this daughter of Babylon. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire. Ancient Babylon wasn't burned with fire. This is the daughter of Babylon. For strong is the Lord who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, they benefited from our captivity as well. Right? And lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, because this place is going to be destroyed via World War III by the nuclear missiles, the ICBM missiles. On top of that, the chariots are going to be getting busy on this place. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So a great judgment is going to befall this place, the likes of which no one has ever witnessed. So Abaratazah, the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.